the card got axed last year. Has there been a resurgence in some of these crimes and problems?
Absolutely. I mean, this is... Ceduna was a town on the improve still. There was a time when we used to have a lot of bars on the windows in Ceduna. They'd largely disappeared over the last 5 or 6 years. Now we're seeing a lot of broken glass again. We're seeing people defecating in the streets, urinating in the streets, drinking on the dry areas of the parks, leaving piles of cans around the pokey rooms is back full. We know that I think that, as far as I know, the attendance of kids at school has dropped off. So it's all the things that I and others predicted would happen. We had fights in the street. There was even a fight just outside the hotel when the minister visited. And when I questioned her in Parliament about that, she said, "Oh, well, you've got to realise it was a funeral." Goodness me, we have funerals all the time, but we don't have fights at our funerals. In East Kimberley, apparently it's the floods that's causing the problem. And we know after question time today that in the goldfields it's because they've had lots of visitors. I mean, where do the excuses run out?
Yeah, there seems to be an absolute denial of reality here. So there's been an upsurge in crimes. Even the current mayor, who likes to talk it down, says there has been more crime, there have been more problems. He just tries, like the government, to suggest there could be other factors at play. The two critical questions, I think, are these. Let me do them one at a time. Firstly, are the people of Ceduna less safe walking around their town now than they were 6 months ago?
Well, I certainly believe that's the case, Chris. And the other feedback we get is that tourists aren't as comfortable in the streets as they were. Now, tourism is a vital part of the Ceduna economy. And I'm seeing reports, there's a Facebook page running of people being accosted in the street, begging, all the things that gangs of people just sort of hanging around. And of course, it's one of those things with Aboriginal groupings is that they often speak loudly, sometimes because they've had hearing impairment since a young age. But that's not easy for others to understand. But given all those things, we've definitely gone backward in this space. And it was, I'll make the point, in the budget, the government allocated $217 million over the next 4 years to wind up the card. Now, they've announced around about $50 million of spending. We don't know where the other 150 is going because apparently...
Yeah, let's leave all that talk to the Parliament, because the second question I want to ask you is just crucial. I asked you about public safety. The other question, and you alluded to it with school attendances, is are Indigenous families worse off because this card is gone?
For the ones that have difficulty managing income, I think that's the case. There are Indigenous families in Kimber, that's where I come from, in Ceduna that manage their life perfectly well. And of course, they were largely unaffected by the card, because if they were on welfare, of course, you wouldn't spend more than 80% of your income, more than 20% of your income on alcohol and gambling. So, yeah, I think that's definitely the case.
Rowan, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.